Hi, welcome to the Lifestyle Herbalist, the podcast where holistic wellness meets everyday living. I'm your host, Dabney Vaccaro. I'm a registered dental hygienist, a clinical herbalist, and a certified health coach.
And I'm your co-host, Sabrina Cooper, a registered dental hygienist with a bachelor's in oral health promotion, a certified culinary nutritionist and herbalist, and a mindfulness and mindful eating coach. Together, we explore the intersection of holistic health, herbal wisdom, and joyful living. From plant-powered remedies to kitchen medicine, mindful moments, and conversations that feed the soul, we're here to help you feel vibrant, grounded, and inspired in your daily life. So steep a cup of something soothing, settle in, and let's grow well together one episode at a time, bringing you a healthy dose of happiness.
Hey, welcome back to the Lifestyle Herbalist. You actually have both Dabney and Sabrina here today.
Ooh, we finally made it on together at the same time. Imagine that. Our
Yes,
schedules align.
yes. So welcome back. And today we're going to dive into some questions that some of our listeners and people in general are just curious about. And it's a question that I have frequently asked about from my clients, and that is, why am I so tired all the time?
I
This might
know.
be the number one
It's either
question.
sometimes they don't pose it as a question or they'll pose it or they'll just say, I just feel so tired. I'm exhausted. I'm tired all the time. I sleep and I'm just still so tired. Like I don't, is it hormones? For women, it's always like at a certain age, it's your hormones. If it's like, you're elderly, it's because you're elderly or you're at that age. Well, it's just age, but there's more than meets the eye, right, Dabney?
Yeah, well, and sometimes we just accept it as aging or we accept it
Hmm.
as change of life. And we don't ask those other questions. It could be something else maybe hindering our day. That's maybe why we're so tired. And we reach for the caffeine, we reach for the energy drinks, we reach for sugar. We try to get through our day the best way I can, but are we perpetuating our own problem with not being rested, well rested? So,
Yeah.
chronic stress and nervous system overload is a real thing. And I think it's become more evident, at least more talked about since COVID. COVID seemed to really put a highlighter on stress and overload and nervous system depletion. What do you think, Sabrina?
Yeah, I just think in general, I think life, I hear it all the time. I say it all the time. I'm like, lifing, it's just life. Like we're lifing and adulting and doing all the things every single day, day in and day out, and day in and day out. And when you ask somebody like, just even after a workout, people are zooming out the door. They don't even have time to do the stretch. They're just like cleaning up their station. They're out the door. They're like, some people are in their head, like what they're going to do next when they get home. They're not even in the present moment doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I think like we just get so caught up in everything and taking time for ourselves becomes stressful. Like the thought of actually staying still and taking care of ourselves and figuring out why we're always tired becomes even a stressor. I think sometimes for people, they don't have I don't have the time to figure it out. I don't have the time to go to a doctor. I don't have time to talk to a naturopath. I don't have time to look into it. So I think we're always in this fight or flight mode for some reason nowadays. And we just, yeah, I think we just need to figure out and get to the root problem because it's not just that you're go, go, go. You're also probably depleted in minerals, like Dabney said, or not eating properly or not getting enough of something, one thing or another.
Yeah, I agree. There is more to the story, in dentistry, a lot of folks come in and they have wear on their teeth. And it's from clenching, it's from grinding, they have muscle tension, they have jaw soreness. And I know I used to see it early in my career. I especially noticed it on young mothers who were still working. They didn't have the ability to stay home and just, not just, but, raise their family. They were doing all the things. They were caring for their children. They were going to work, putting in a full day, coming home, making dinner, getting the kids settled in for their evening routines, getting them to bed, and then they just plop into bed, and they're just exhausted, never really having a moment for themselves to regenerate their own nourishment for their own self. And then during the night, it's that tension, clenching, grinding. And I know a lot of my patients early in my career, I noticed that, they had TMD issues. They were complaining about jaw tension. What can they do? And, in dentistry, there's only minimal things that we have to offer. And one of them is a night guard. And, in our office, we still have patient or dentists who recommend night guards. And while that can be a temporary fix, it doesn't get to the root issue. Like grinding on a piece of plastic really isn't the ideal way to manage a problem. And
No,
so, could it be that, you're minerally depleted? And I know from my own understanding, and especially with learning more about minerals, and minerals are the communicators of our body. And when our minerals are depleted and when we're under stress, we burn through those minerals very quickly.
quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a whole lot of the problem is that, we're just mineral depleted.
Yeah. We don't think of these things because I don't think it's very much talked about really. Like, does anybody ever say, so, well, it could be your potassium, like could be your magnesium. I mean, a lot more people are like looking into magnesium because it's out there, but there are those other minerals like potassium, and we don't think of it as one, right? We think calcium. Um, and I feel like if we don't focus on these things, then we are just causing, it's like a recipe for disaster. You're not going to be able to fully recover from everything, that feeling of being tired and wired, and your cortisol levels are high. You're not ever going to be able to come and get into a restorative sleep. Um, and it's kind of sad. And I think this, people are like, why are we all getting sick? And we look at like, is it the food? Is it this? Maybe it's just because we're just not giving ourselves the time, and our muscles are always like tense, and we're always agitated, and we're always, giving our body a reason to be in fight or flight mode. So it doesn't even know how to do anything. It's giving us these signs and symptoms, which could be clenching at first. And then it
Right.
just snowballs from there, right?
Right.
Like that could be your first symptom. It could be like, I wake up and I got jaw tension. Now more than ever, I see like people starting to learn or doing buckle massages. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this hasn't really been a thing for a long time. Like I didn't hear of it way
Mm-hmm.
back when. Now it's becoming more of a thing, isn't it? Like,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
think we're seeing more things that in the mouth, like you said, more wear, more broken crown, more broken just from clenching. I mean, it's we see a lot just from the mouth, and it tells a lot. But, today we're going to talk about how it affects, like why you're feeling tired, things that can help you perhaps. I mean, we're not doctors. We just are here to provide information. And I told Dabney, we're like, we always have to say this because, consult with your doctor as well. But it's just something to look into. They're tools for you. And a little nugget of information that you can take and think, huh, that's interesting. I have these symptoms, or I've felt this way. Maybe I should go get some blood tests and see where I'm at, or saliva tests, or something to just get you to the root of why, and maybe just implementing and supplement, like giving yourself something more concrete to go by. You'll be able to get that restful sleep and feel better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I know on my own journey, I started learning more about minerals last fall, and it's been very telling. About a year and a half ago, I purchased a wearable. There's a lot of wearables. There's watches, rings, different things that people can track different things about their sleep, their activity level. Some even do blood pressure. But I started using a wearable ring, and using the app, I found that, my body was in a constant state of stress. And I thought, gosh, I don't feel stressed. I just really had trouble getting that level to come down, because it kind of gives you like a graph during the day, like up, down, up, down, up, 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 up. And I was up, 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 up a lot with my
And you
stress.
don't
And I
seem
thought,
like a person that would be up, up. I mean, your energy is up because you have good energy, but I wouldn't say you're like a stressful energy.
well, and I didn't think so either, Sabrina. I was just very surprised. But, I guess it was just my normal. Like I felt like this for so long, perhaps, that it just became my new normal. And so, with learning about the minerals, I took the hair tissue mineral analysis, where you take off a lop of your hair, send it in, and they look at the minerals. And it's the minerals of how your body is dealing with things like nervous system, adrenals, thyroid, hormones, even blood sugar. Like it looks at it from a 3 to 4 month range. And so when I got that information back, I had a practitioner who was helping me understand it. She told me that I was headed towards something called a calcium shell. And I was taking my calcium, I was taking my vitamin D, I was taking my vitamin B. Like I was doing all the things that I thought as a woman who was postmenopausal, I was supposed to do, right? I'm a health coach, I'm in the wellness sector. And so I'm doing all the things. Well, it turned out that my body really wasn't able to utilize those minerals and the vitamins that I was taking to the degree where it was really helping me. It was actually the calcium was actually hindering me. Because of my chronic stress, the calcium was actually in my tissues rather than in my bones. And because calcium is such a strong mineral, it was actually creating a point where there was no permeability in my cells or very little permeability. So the other minerals like potassium and sodium and things weren't getting in. And
Yeah.
so that was the reason, a lot of the reason that my calcium potassium was off, because that is my autonomic balance. That's my nervous system. So it's not just a single ratio, it's how they work together. And so with a practitioner, I started utilizing more sodium. You know, how many of us were made to be scared of sodium because of high blood pressure? Well, that is one piece of it, but we need sodium. It's the sodium and potassium. It's the phosphate. It's the calcium. It all works together. And so when we deprive ourselves of some of these trace minerals, well, our body starts to burn through things, and then we don't feel well. So long story short, I've been incorporating just electrolytes and magnesium into my body. And now when I look at my stress load when using my wearable and the app, I'm down a lot more. Like I have a stress peak when I'm outside working, sometimes when I have things going on that's a little bit stressful, but I know when they're going to be stressful. Like now I can feel it. The other neat thing, Sabrina, that I've noticed is that I don't get all shook up. When somebody approaches me with an issue or a problem, like I used to get like rattled and shook up. Now I can kind of look at it from like a 360-degree angle from a wide view and think through things. Like my mind seems more clear because I'm not in that stress overload where I feel like I have to jump into the answer right away. I think I need to think about that for a minute. And you know, it's just helped me with my relationships. And I don't seem to be on edge as much. That's the biggest part of what I've noticed for myself. So,
Okay.
I mean, that's just because I was minerally depleted. You know, and even though we're doing the right things with our food, like what's in the soil? I have a client I'm working with currently, and she had her soil tested in because she does a lot of gardening and feeds herself very well. And she found out that she was actually lacking in a lot of minerals and things in her soil. So she's working to do some composting and things like that. So, you know, if our soil, and we don't always grow our food, we're relying on the grocery store and the farmers, you know, to provide us with our minerals. And sometimes they're just minerally depleted. Like even if we think we're doing all the right things, the food is just minerally depleted.
Yeah, I agree. And same with like, before we talk about the specific minerals and then get onto that, just so people will know the symptoms and things. I think, even with water, we have this reverse osmosis water. We drink different types we try to take everything out of our water. And so often with that, it does remove some of the minerals that we need. It does remove and it removes some of the electrolytes things. So I remember when I was taking my course, it was one of the things that you just add back a little bit, like of sea salt, or put a little dropping of sea salt back into your water, so that you're getting some of those essential nutrients that you need, because you don't think about it that way, right?
That's
So.
an excellent point.
I
And,
really
and
tell
yeah,
people with these fancy fridges now, like we just got a new fridge, and it has the water and it has the filter and everything, and it says it removes 99.9% of everything. Well, I'm glad that it's removing like a lot of the nasty in the water. It like, we trust. But at the same time, I have to make sure that I'm adding in like an electrolyte or something like that when I drink the water, just so that I get back what I need. from my water. And also there's people who are on well water, there's people who are on, different types of water. So we have to be careful with those too. But anyway, I just wanted to say that because sometimes we don't even think of that small thing. If you're drinking lots of water that's purified and clean, you may not be getting the nutrients that you think you're getting, and doing your body the due diligence of that. So, did you
Yeah,
want to talk to me? Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say that's an excellent point. And that was one thing I was doing myself as we have a reverse osmosis system in the house. And so I was using that water and it is taking out the minerals. So, and how many people use bottled water? So if you're not drinking spring water, if you're drinking purified water, those minerals have been removed, which makes
Yeah,
the water acidic, which isn't good
yeah,
for our oral environment, our body, really. But yeah, you're right on point, and that's one thing we don't often think about is what is in my water. Well water, at least here, is pretty mineral rich because it's coming up through the rocks, and you're getting the minerals and things through the ground, and so those usually are really good to have. But the bottled water, not so much. Reverse osmosis, not so much. And so I just use electrolytes in my water bottle every morning. I just toss in some electrolytes in my water, and that's
way you
that's how
go.
I know I'm getting what I need.
Yeah, I know. I think it's really important because even, I had workers upstairs, the electrolytes are just, I said, make sure you're taking electrolytes. You're sweating out more than you're putting in. You guys have to, you're like, I don't want you to like feel bad or because then they're like, you feel like why, like what it's something like sleep, for example, is like, you can be like dizzy or things like that. It's just an imbalance. You're not just dizzy for a reason. Your body's telling you something. So look at what you're doing. Most times dizziness could be a sodium depletion, right? Like if you're been outside working and then all of a sudden you feel like, oh, I don't feel so good, right? So I think that you need to really pay attention to these things. And so with that, I think we should talk about a little bit of some of the
I just want to pause to say thank you so much for joining me on the Lifestyle Herbalist. And I wanted to take a moment to share a brand I personally use and truly believe in, and that's Defender Shield. In a modern lifestyle, we're surrounded by phones, laptops, and Wi-Fi all day long. And as an herbalist and dental professional, I care about reducing everyday stressors on the body, not just what I'm eating, but what I'm exposed to as well. Defender Shield creates lab tested EMF blocking cases, laptop pads, and accessories designed to help lower our daily exposure while we use our devices. If you've been looking for a simple, practical way to support your overall wellness environment, I highly recommend starting there. You can use the link in the show notes and receive 10% off your first order with Defender Shield. I want to take a moment in our podcast today to thank one of our sponsors, Survival Garden Seeds. And this next piece might feel a little different, but it's something I've become very passionate about, especially as I've gotten deeper into understanding health at a foundational level. And that's where our food comes from. Because we can talk about supplements and protocols all day, but if the foundation, our food, is lacking in nutrients, it's going to be really hard to fully support the body. And beyond that, there's also something to be said about the connection to your food and the sense of preparedness. What would happen if you couldn't run to the grocery store and get what you needed? It's not about fear, but really about empowerment. That's why I started learning more about how to grow my own food, even in a small, manageable way. And I've been using Survival Garden Seeds. They offer seed kits that are designed for long-term storage, and they make it really approachable, even if you've never even gardened before. And here's what I love most about this. It shifts you from being completely dependent to just being a little more self-sufficient. Even if you start small, even if it's just herbs and a few vegetables, it's the connection that matters. The nutrient density matters, and honestly, it feels very grounding. If this is something you've been considering, use the link in the show notes and save 10% off your first order. You don't have to do everything, but starting somewhere can really make a big difference. Let's talk about something that I think is massively underestimated when it comes to inflammation, and that's the fats we use every single day. Because I see this all the time. Someone's doing all the right things, they're eating clean, they're taking supplements, they're still dealing with inflammation though. And sometimes it comes down to the smallest inputs. One of the first places I look is cooking oils. A lot of commonly used oils are highly processed, unstable at high heat, and can actually contribute to inflammation in the body, which, as we know, can show up in the gums, the gut, and even beyond. So, one of the simplest shifts I have made is switching to a more traditional stable fat, specifically ghee. And I wanted to highlight this because not all ghee is created equal. I personally use great ghee because it checks all the boxes that actually matter. It's organic, non GMO, and it's made locally here in Virginia, which I love supporting. But beyond that, there's a real science behind why this matters. Ghee is rich in fat soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, and it contains compounds like butyrate that specifically helps support the gut and helps regulate inflammation. And because the milk solids are removed, a lot of people who are sensitive to dairy actually tolerate it very well. So, this isn't just about swapping an ingredient, it's about choosing something that actually supports the body on a deeper level. And the best part? It's an easy change. You're already cooking. This just upgrades what you're cooking with. If you're working on inflammation, oral health, or even just wanting to feel better overall, this is one of those foundational shifts that can actually make a real difference. I'll link the one I like to use, Great Ghee, in the show notes. And if you'd like to try it yourself, use the code Dabney at checkout and get 10% off. It's simple, intentional changes like this that really do add up over time. Now, let's get back to the show.
Things that are caught, like if you have a deficiency of what can be affecting your sleep. Like, for example, sodium and electrolytes, while we're on that topic, it causes nighttime awakenings, dizziness, increased stress hormone production, cravings, and dehydration. So, before you get to that state, why not start feeding your body and giving your body what it needs throughout the day so that you don't get to bed and be like, oh, I feel really, but if I drink water now, I'm gonna have to go to the bathroom all night. I'm gonna wake up, so it's gonna disrupt my sleep. So I might as well just go to bed. Well, you might feel even worse waking up in the morning if you don't take care of yourself. So do the thing during the day and add that electrolyte into your water. It could be doing that, a little bit of, like I said, just if you want to be a more natural way, add a little sea salt, some lemon, add something into your water. Not too much lemon, just a little splash so it doesn't affect your teeth and make it more acidic, but just something to give yourself that little rejuvenation of to your body.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know for me, like I was, even when I took my second HTMA, I was still low on potassium. So then I found electrolyte that had even more potassium in it because what I was taking still wasn't enough. So it takes a while. So, the other thing is that we want quick fixes. But your body didn't become sick overnight. Your body's been depleted for a little while. And so it takes time for things to get regulated. And you don't want to push your body to do anything because that will just add more stress. So doing things slowly over a period of time. Remember, just be patient with your body. If we give our body things it needs to heal, it will heal. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one we didn't talk about either is zinc. Zinc is
Mm.
one that goes unnoticed as well, and that also supports immune system, neurotransmitter function, melatonin
Hormones.
production,
Hmm.
hormones. And so the low zinc can also be can be linked to you not, or to you feeling tired all the time. Like you might have a difficulty falling asleep, less restorative sleep, reduced immune function and recovery. So your body is sleep is recovery. That's what we go to bed for. Our body,
Hmm.
it's time to heal. And so this is one of the big things that you need to understand is that by getting all these, and we're going to probably move topics, but minerals into your body, then you can feel better in the morning. And because they all serve a purpose, like iron's for oxygen and energy regulation, calcium's the sleep partner, so it helps with the brain, and the tryptophan and producing melatonin. Magnesium helps with, you know, uh, just overall like rest, and it can impact, it's a hormone and relaxation and stress response. So, make sure that you get enough of these throughout the day so that when you go to bed, you feel better.
I know a lot of folks will take zinc when they feel like they're getting sick, or they take extra zinc in the winter time to help with their immune system. But again,
Yeah,
zinc is important. And when we're stressed, chronically stressed, we run through our minerals very quickly. So
very
it's very
quickly.
easily depletion happening when we're really in chronic stress. Our nervous system is overload. So what are some ways that we can help our listeners have a better night's
Well,
sleep? So for me,
And it's also what you're eating too, like mineral
mhm.
status naturally. You can eat, like we're all about natural, a lot of us. So, leafy greens, nuts, seeds, legumes, seafood, colorful vegetables, like a rainbow on your plate. Potassium-rich foods are potatoes, which a lot of people stay away from potatoes, but we're not saying eat them deep fried and French fries. Eat
Right.
them
With
boiled.
ketchup full of sugar.
Boiled potatoes are great. Like Jerusalem artichokes are also like, prebiotic. They can cause a little gas. You need to eat in small portions, but they're another option to get a lot of great benefits. Squash, avocados, beans, pumpkin seeds, almonds, right? Like spinach is a big one. How many people right now are in the summer months have a nice spinach salad with some lentils in your salad or shrimp or, uh, I think that's a great way to incorporate some of the natural ways of eating.
Yeah, I think
Dabney.
avocados for sure are completely underutilized, and it is so rich in potassium. And with especially when I found out I was lower in potassium, I have at least a half of a avocado a day, if not a whole one. And I love them, but I mean, not everybody loves avocado, but just you can just toss it in a smoothie and you don't even know it's
Yeah.
there, but it gives a nice, thick, rich, creamy kind of consistency. And I have this dip that I use when I take it to places. It's a fruit dip, but it's avocados, cacao, a little bit of sea salt, and a little bit of maple syrup. And people devour it. And they'll go, wow, this is the best dip ever. What is it? And it's like, I'll let you eat it for a little while and then I'll tell you it's avocados.
It's a good way to trick kids too into eating avocado.
hmm
Not that you want it to be trickery, but a lot of kids are don't like them, and
Oh,
so it's
trickery's
like
okay when it comes to kids, in
it's
my
like I
opinion.
feel like I've done workshops with kids where putting avocado into a smoothie and they're like, "What? I don't like avocado." And then they tasted smoothie and they love it. So,
Right.
because it's masked by the strawberries and everything else that's in the smoothie, and that's a great way. Like yogurt bowls are a great way to like, too. You can add like cocoa,
hmm
like you said, do a cacao and add some avocado and whip it up. Post workout smoothies that are like, well balanced are a great way to add your electrolytes in there and you can get your all your minerals too. Yeah, like so those are options for you to there is options naturally to eat well during the day. And probably most listeners out there, I bet, find that if they haven't eaten well during the day or haven't eaten enough of the foods that they need and been hydrated all day, that they'll have a more restless sleep than had when they do take the time to eat properly and do the things before bed to give them that quality sleep.
Yeah. And you mentioned magnesium, and I think more and more people are now asking about magnesium. What are the
Yeah.
differences in magnesium? And for me, like, I was also low on my magnesium. So I've been taking a magnesium glycinate. It's a powder that I take every night. I put in a little bit of water, chug it down, and I go to bed. And boy, I sleep really well. Occasionally I will wake up, but very often I'm able to go right back to sleep. So
Yeah.
it's one thing I've been suggesting to my patients, especially if I notice they're grinding, clenching teeth, is that they try some magnesium before bed to see if maybe they can help their nervous system that's overloaded to be able to relax. Because, we wake up in the morning when our feet hit the floor, often we're in go mode. And if we never get a chance to really fully, deeply sleep, a restorative sleep at night, we are not going to have as good of a day.
No.
That restorative sleep is vital to our vitality.
Yeah. And on magnesium too, the magnesium glycinate, the one that you say is really good for the sleep and stress and relaxation. But then like also you can add like some of them add in a little bit of calcium citrate, which also helps for constipation for those people who suffer for that. So if you take that before night, um, I find myself too, it keeps you pretty regular, and I know like my mom, as she's aging, it's a hard thing as well. And so I give her the Mag Cow liquid before bed. And it's not like it gives you like a crazy, crazy like laxative or anything, but it just keeps you in a more regular state. So that's something, one of the differences between those two. Those are kind of the two common ones I would say when you Dabney, those two
Yeah.
magnesiums, because
Hmm.
then there's like a couple others. But I think those are the most common that are in supplements for people for specific regulation of sleep, because that's what most people need is sleep and um, constipation issues. So I think that's a big thing. So, on that, I think that sleep deprivation, definitely check into your minerals. There's a few other things like your mouth breathing, which Dabney and I could speak. I think we've done a few podcasts on mouth breathing and sleep disordered breathing, but that's a big one as well because it could be check with your physician, maybe go do a sleep test if you find that you're constantly waking up tired and you're needing to nap during the day. It could be a thing with sleep apnea, which is a big
Hmm.
one. And you're not getting a you're, you're not getting a full sleep. You might be sleeping, but you're not getting a great sleep. So I think that you need to look into that as well. A number of people, when you say, "Oh, my husband's on has a CPAP machine," oh, my husband too. I thought so many people are now. It's interesting because they're mouth breathers, and but there are ways to correct it in some ways, right,
Right.
Dabney?
Right. And the other thing that messes with sleep quality, a lot of times it's, we talk a lot about food, but if you're having caffeine late in the day
Yeah.
or alcohol, I know for me, disrupts my sleep
Oh
patterns.
yeah, for sure.
Caffeine definitely does. I've gotten much more sensitive to caffeine. And lately I just have like a matcha tea sometimes in the morning, but I've been doing more of the mushrooms, so I'm just trying to give up coffee altogether. And actually, it's been better than I anticipated. I really expected me to have some dips and be kind of like sleepy during the day, but with the mushrooms, mushrooms are so medicinal. I think it supports me in other ways that I was thinking I needed caffeine for. So anyway, I've been doing more of the mushroom blends in the morning and some matcha sometimes, which has caffeine in it, but yeah, and I think that's helped me with my sleeping, and I feel pretty alive all through the day, so it's been good. But
Yeah,
alcohol definitely disrupts
definitely.
my sleep for sure.
Yeah, that will definitely do it for sure. And
Hmm.
and I think maybe and alcohol also because it could be the blood sugar instability,
Hmm.
right?
Oh, for
When
sure.
it dips too low, it releases your body like during the night, the body releases stress hormones and your cortisol, and then the adrenaline has to raise it back up. So your cortisol could drop too low, and then that's what's keeping. So if people are waking up and having like, it can trigger nighttime awakenings, restless sleep, vivid dreams, night sweats, waking up between 2 and 4, feeling too alert and unable to sleep. So, you know, really try to manage that without the alcohol,
Yeah,
anything, and include more protein and healthy fats, fiber. Don't eat too late, because that's also a problem. Refined carbohydrates, you don't want to do that because that spikes your blood and crashes. Eat regular little meals. And if you need a bedtime snack, or if you're really hungry, do something that has a protein. So apples with nut butter, Greek yogurt with seeds, whole grain crackers with cheese, something like that. Nothing too like potato chips and popcorn are not, and wine are not an
right,
option if you really
right.
want a good night's
If you
sleep.
not want to, yeah,
Once in a while, sure, but
mhm.
like, let's all stick to the basics and try and eat something with substance before you go to bed.
Yeah, and I can give you even an example this week. So Wednesday is my clinic day, so I worked all day, and then I have a small group. My church, we have a small group that I attend on Wednesday night. So I got home, and we had like a celebration for some new staff members that joined the office. And so I had a pretty big lunch. So I thought, I'm not really hungry for supper, so I'm not going to eat. So I went to small group. There was some snacks and things, and I had like some edamame and I don't know, some nuts or something like that. But that was pretty much it. Well, then during the night, I woke up like completely wide awake, like at 2:30, 3 o'clock, I was completely wide awake. And I think it was because I didn't eat, my blood sugar dropped. And for sure, like I was awake, like I felt like I was ready for the day. I was like, I can't get up at 2:30. Like I'm going to be a zombie on Thursday. So I was finally able to go back to sleep, but it took me a long time. But I
Yeah.
think it was because my blood sugar dropped. I didn't eat like I normally do. So I have had clients who also I've worked with who started just using a little bit of like nut butter with an apple or peanut butter
Mhm.
with some almonds or a banana with some almonds and slept through the night. It's like they have started sleeping much better. And again, it's because their blood sugar was dropping. And there is something to it. Not everybody has that issue, but if this is something that is chronically happened to you, it could be that it is a blood sugar instability.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I agree. And then one last sort of thing that too can be is like the inflammation in your body. So that is also can disrupt your sleep, your natural wake up cycles, and it makes it harder to achieve a deep restorative sleep. Some common ways that inflammation affects sleep is difficulty falling asleep because the nervous system remains in a heightened state of awareness, frequent waking up during the night. It can interfere with normal sleep architecture. Less sleep and REM sleep stages are responsible for because it's responsible for your repair, memory, and emotional processing. So that's why you kind of might feel like you're a zombie in the morning, feeling tired despite sleep because of your quality is reduced. The pain and discomfort that you may be feeling in your body is making it difficult for you to stay asleep or fall asleep. And then again, cortisol levels, which we talk about a lot, is driven by stress, leading to a tired but wired feeling. So, poor sleep can also increase inflammation, creating a cycle that can be difficult to break. So, it can be going around and around and around in circles. So,
Hmm.
get to the root causes. If your body's telling you something, if you're not feeling right in your body, if you feel like there's certain elements of inflammation, focus on that and try and get that repaired before so that you can get a better sleep.
Yeah. Well, and we can't let this episode go without talking about some herbs, right? We gotta talk about
Yeah.
our plant friends. And
Well,
so,
for what would you suggest for inflammation? For example, I'm just looking inflammation I had written down like lemon balm, chamomile, passion flower.
yeah. Well, I can't forget about my friend nettle. Nettle is so mineral rich. It's actually used as a food. And what happens with nettle is that it supports the body in many different ways. So if you are minerally depleted, then it's going to help rebuild some of those minerals. It also, I've actually made uh, some food with it. I made pesto recently, and it was delicious. Like I loved it. So there's lots of ways to incorporate it. You can throw it into soups. It can act as a replacement for spinach. You can drink it as a tea. But when it comes to sleeping well, I have often used the combination of skullcap and passion flower because passion flower helps to turn off the wheels that keep turning over and over and over. And skullcap is very relaxing for the nervous system and can help you fall right back to sleep. So those are the things that the main ones that I use. A lot of folks have used oh, what is that one? Valerian root. Valerian
Valerian.
root
I
can
find
be
that one
very
keeps me
helpful.
awake.
Yeah, Valerian I've had mixed reviews about, and it's not something you want to be on long term, but the passion flower and skullcap are ones that have been, I mean, I use those all the time, but lemon balm
Yeah.
is great as well. Even catnip, like for children who
Catnip.
are restless or a little hyper, like giving them some catnip tea or some type of elixir with catnip in it, it can be very helpful. Just helping them to calm down as well. Lavender is very relaxing. So,
And you could
yeah.
even try like if you don't want to like take them as, even spraying a little lavender spray on your pillow at night, lavender eye pillows, just to give your
Hmm.
eyes some weightedness to, and then eventually it'll turn to your side or whatever, it'll fall off. Just spraying your room with a nice scented aroma of lavender can even just help.
Oh,
the
sure.
essential oils. So that's a way
Yeah.
of using herbs without having to take them if you don't want to. So there's options in that sense, for helping with sleep, right? So, but I
Yeah.
like all the suggestions you made.
Yeah, I even have I know a herbalist who doesn't make teas. She makes foot soaks. So she
Mm,
put herbs in a foot bath. And, our skin is our largest organ. It's very permeable. That's why we have to be careful about toxins and things that we touch because it does get into our body. But she really is a believer that we don't have to drink the tea. You can just put the herbs in hot water and put your feet in the hot water and basically a tea, and just have the herbs help your body in that way. So, there's lots of different ways to have plants to help support our body and our stress nervous system, minerals, and blood sugar and inflammation.
yeah. I think we covered a lot in this episode. I think we got a lot of people, gave people a lot of things to think about in the audience. And we hope that you listen to the signs and symptoms. And things that you can maybe look at. And it's not just like, oh, I had a busy, tired day and I'm, trying to push my way through the day. I've just been so stressed and busy. We'll try and take some of those stressors away so that you do get a better sleep. Stop trying to be in, try to get down from the fight or flight stage and give yourself, I know it can be, just give yourself some time, meditate, give yourself some time just to, get yourself ready for bed. Give yourself some downtime, down regulation, and listen to some nice music. Don't get on your iPods and your technology. Maybe just try and clear your mind and
Yeah,
get like your vitamins and minerals in and have a little nice hearty snack that you can help with sleep. And things don't happen overnight, no pun intended, but you might need a few days before like everything gets regulated and you get into a pattern of sleep. So,
yeah. And the other thing I think about too is think about your bedroom.
yeah.
The question is, why am I so tired all the time? Well, what is your bedroom like? Is it noise in there? Are there lights? Could it be that you need to have like room darkening curtains? Could it be that you need to just put your phone in the bathroom so that you're not bothered by the EMFs or technology or alerts that are coming through? Um, what is your bedroom? Is it cool? What is your atmosphere like? Uh, for me, I do not have a TV in my room. I refuse to have a TV in my room. TV is for sleep. So I don't want to have any noise, and I like it dark and I like it quiet. So create an environment that is conducive to your sleep so that you can actually prioritize consistent sleep so that when you and waking up, so going to bed about the same time every night, waking up about the same time every morning gets your body used to a rhythm. And so that's really important as well. So you can consider some of the herbal supports, helping to manage your stress so that you can sleep well.
I agree with you we should mention about the bedroom because it is so true about that, like like if you don't need like light or if you just create it to be your special little place to go and have your little happy place that like
Yeah.
brings you sleep, make it comfortable. Sometimes it's hard with the partner. I get that because somebody might be hot, cold, my husband and I just actually got a new bed because we did some renovations. And my stipulation was like a king bed, and we have two separate twin
Oh,
covers.
mm-hmm.
So we each have our own cover, and our bed is not like one, like it is one, but it's like you can't feel each other really. So that was my thing because he wears a mask to go to bed, and I'm used to it now because of the sound. It kind of is like white noise. But I just felt like it's just nice to have your own blanket, and it's nice to
Mm-hmm.
have your own tug, and we have a dog, and sometimes you jump anyway, and that makes me happy, and I sleep well. So, it's something that you can take into
Yeah.
consideration. So I love
Great.
all the things we've done, and I hope everybody gets it. Again, please check with your physicians. We're not doctors. We're just here to offer advice, and things that we've learned along the way. And hopefully you find these things helpful.
Yes. And so until next time, we'll see you on the flip
See you
side.
later.
Hey.
Bye.